Welcome back to Waynesider, where we dig into the heart of wrestling's most seismic moments. Tonight, we're unraveling a story that's left the WWE Universe in shock, a collapse so devastating it's torn through the very fabric of a dynasty. The air is electric with betrayal, and we're here to trace the emotional fault lines that led to this earth-shattering night. His reign began as a force of nature, a leader whose power unified a family and dominated the ring. Every spear, every command, solidified his place as the head of the table, a figure who carried the weight of a legacy with unyielding resolve. His presence wasn't just felt, it was seismic, reshaping the WWE around his vision. But power like that casts a long shadow, and with it came pressure that could crush even the strongest. The expectation to lead, to hold the family together, to be the untouchable chief pressed down relentlessly. Behind the stoic facade, every decision carried the weight of a lineage, every victory a step on a tightrope. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. In the shadows of his dominance, silent resentment began to fester among those closest. Brothers who stood by his side, who shared his blood, felt the sting of his spotlight. Backstage, their smiles masked a growing unease, their own dreams dimmed by the brilliance of his reign, planting seeds of discord in sacred bonds. This emotional history stretches back to a family whose name is wrestling royalty, their legacy a tapestry of triumphs and sacrifices. They were bound by blood, united by a shared mission to uphold their heritage. But legacies are heavy, and the pressure to live up to them can fracture even the tightest-knit clans. Away from the roaring crowds, those fractures grew in quiet moments, tense glances in the locker room, words left unsaid during strategy sessions. His power, once a rallying cry, began to feel like a wall, separating him from those who should have been his strength. The family's unity started to crack, strained by ambition. He stood as the cornerstone, his reign a masterclass in control, each title defense a testament to his iron will. But the pressure never eased, a constant hum beneath the cheers. Fans saw the leader, the warrior, but those closest saw the man, carrying a dynasty's weight on shoulders that rarely faltered. Silent resentment took root in the hearts of those who felt overshadowed, their own paths eclipsed by his glory. It wasn't hatred, but a quiet pain, love tangled with envy, pride laced with longing. They stood in his corner, but each chant for his name carried a subtle ache, a reminder of their own unfulfilled dreams. The emotional history of this saga is one of power's paradox, elevating him while isolating him in plain sight. The pressure to be infallible, to carry the family's banner, wore at his edges, even as he stood tall. The legacy, a source of pride, became a crucible, testing bonds that once seemed unbreakable. In the locker room's dim glow, camaraderie masked the growing divides, but the undercurrents told a different story. Veterans traded knowing looks, while younger stars absorbed the lessons of ambition's cost. His power drew awe, but also envy, a silent force humming beneath every interaction. As the pressure mounted, so did the silent resentments, coiling tighter with every sold-out arena. He pushed forward, the embodiment of strength, but the emotional toll was palpable. The family's bond, once a fortress, began to show fissures, strained by unspoken grievances and unshared burdens. This story was always heading toward a breaking point, the emotional history a prelude to a moment that would redefine everything. Power had made him a king, but pressure had worn him thin, and silent resentment had armed those closest with motives they scarcely dared to acknowledge. Then, in a moment that stopped the world, the attack came, a stunning betrayal that shattered the dynasty live on Raw. Halfway through this saga, the truth exploded, not from an outsider, but from a brother, a strike that turned the ring into a battlefield of broken trust. The crowd erupted, but the shock was laced with heartbreak. The arena froze, fans clutching their signs as the betrayal unfolded in raw, agonizing clarity. Power, his shield for so long, offered no protection against this treachery. The pressure he'd carried became a flood, and the anguish on his face was a wound that cut through the WWE Universe's soul. Backstage, the locker room dissolved into chaos, wrestlers gathering in stunned silence, some fighting back tears. Real whispers spread, tales of ignored warnings, of tensions that simmered too long, now exploded in a moment of unthinkable cruelty. The emotional aftermath was a storm, raw and unrelenting. This collapse wasn't just a moment, it was the unraveling of a dynasty. The family's WWE legacy, built on decades of blood and sweat, now bears a scar that may never heal. The attack severed more than loyalty, it fractured a lineage, leaving its future uncertain and its past tainted. In the days that followed, the locker room remained cloaked in grief, wrestlers reflecting in hushed tones. Real backstage whispers spoke of regret, of moments where reconciliation could have changed the course but didn't. The pressure to move forward clashed with the need to process, a tension that gripped all. For the family's legacy, this betrayal is a seismic shift, redefining rivalries and reshaping alliances. The power he held, once a unifying force, now feels hollow, the throne shadowed by treachery. The family's name, a pillar of wrestling, now carries the weight of this fracture, its glory dimmed. Fans are reeling, their heartbreak flooding social media with shock and sorrow. The image of that moment, captured in haunting clarity, feels like a wound to the collective soul of the WWE Universe. This wasn't just a storyline, it was a shattering of something sacred, a loss that resonates deeply. The emotional aftermath reveals a truth: betrayal cuts deepest when it comes from those you call family. Silent resentments, once whispers, have left a permanent mark, a reminder that even the strongest bonds can break under pressure. The legacy endures, but it's forever changed, etched with pain. In the quiet after the storm, the locker room reflects on loyalty and loss, each member carrying the weight of what happened. Real whispers hint at deeper rifts, of chances for unity lost to pride and ambition. The shock of that night lingers, a wound to the heart of the roster. As we unravel this tragedy, the family's WWE legacy stands at a crossroads. Power, once a beacon, now feels tainted, and the pressure to rebuild is daunting. The attack has rewritten the narrative, turning brothers into adversaries, pride into pain, leaving a void where unity once stood. In this heartfelt reflection, we see betrayal as the true villain, eroding trust in a world built on it. Broken bonds, once the backbone of this family, now lie scattered, wounds too fresh to heal. Blood, spilled in the ring and in spirit, tells a story of loyalty tested and found wanting. The WWE Universe mourns together, a collective gasp at what was and what might have been. This collapse is a testament to the human heart at wrestling's core, where power and pressure collide with devastating consequences. The legacy endures, but it carries the weight of this heartbreak. Thank you for joining us on Wainsider, where we honor the stories that make wrestling more than a sport. It's a saga of blood, sweat, and tears. Until next time, hold tight to those you trust, for in this world, the line between family and foe can blur in an instant.